In this video, we're going to have a look at a feature called mail merge in Word to do a mail merge to labels using Excel as a data source. So mail merge in Word can take a list of data in Excel such as customers' names and addresses and merge them into a Word document so that they can be printed out as mailing labels. Now this is useful if there's a need for a bulk mail out of some description, and it saves creating individual labels or worse, handwriting envelopes. Now before you start, the best thing you can do is work out what labels you're going to use. Now this might seem simple, but if you don't have the correct label code that matches up to a label code in Word, it can be an absolute nightmare trying to get your address to fit into the label. So here's a couple of ideas. If you have existing labels, you will need to find a code for the label. The code's usually found on the box label, or there may be a formatting guide inside the box that shows you the sizing and potential codes. If you don't have any labels, check out the label options in Word before you start and then purchase labels that meet the required layout for you. Now, the label code will vary depending upon the brand of label, the label layout, and the codes that's used for different printers. So there's usually different codes for inkjet versus laser printers. So let's have a look at how we do this. In order to complete the mail merge to labels, two items are needed. A spreadsheet with a list of names and addresses, which I have in Excel, but you could alternatively have it in a Word table, and a blank Word document. And once we come into Word, we're going to set up this document so it looks like our label sheet, and then we're going to tell Word to merge the names and addresses from the Excel list into the Word document. So we've got Word open. Now, the first thing we need to do is we need to go to the Mailings tab. That's, of course, once you've made sure your cursor's at the top of the page. From here, you'll be prompted to choose a particular option. We're going to choose Start Mail Merge, and to make it nice and easy, we're going to use the step-by-step Mail Merge wizard. This is fantastic because it actually guides you through the process of setting things up, so you don't have to remember everything. So here we're going to choose Labels. And then we're going to scroll down the bottom and we're going to choose Starting Document. Now it says, do we want to start from an existing document or the document that's on the screen? We're just going to leave it as a blank document, and we're going to choose Label Options. Now this is where it's really important that you know your label code. So from here, there is a plethora, I don't get to use that word often enough, of options. The most common one will be Avery A4, A5 for those that are in Australia. If you're in the US, you've got US letter. So choose the particular brand that you have. Now, I know my particular label is known as an L7162 or a J8162, depending on whether it's an inkjet printer or a laser printer. So what I need to do is I need to find that entry. So there'll be a lot there. You can scroll down, or I can click here, and if I just type in J, it takes me to the first Avery one that starts with J, and I'm looking for 8162. So again, it's just a matter of scrolling down. There we go, 8162. Now, if you wanted to see what the labels look like, you can click on the Details tab, and it opens up and shows you the sizing and the spacing that's related to this particular label. So when you come into this area, don't change anything, leave it as it is, just click OK. Now we're going to click OK again. So what that's done is it's created a Word document, and it's got the label layout. Now at the moment you can't see anything except for this little marker, so I'm just going to come back to the Home tab and switch on my Show Hide. Now go back to the Mailings tab, and what you're seeing here is just a layout of where each of the labels start. So now we've got our Word document laid out with the label options we've chosen. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to select the recipients. So at the bottom of this navigation pane on the right, we click Select Recipients. Now from here we choose Browse. So I'm going to open up this particular Excel file so that we can do our merge. Now when you locate the file, it should come up with something that looks like this. Now it's really important that you name the worksheet tab if you've got multiple tabs in this file. I didn't have multiple tabs. I just had one tab that said list to make it nice and easy for me to identify it in here. It says the first row of data contains column headings. This is going to make it easier for me to tell Word what to place where. So I click OK, and it gives me a little preview of what's in the list. Now, if you want to get into more detail, you can look for duplicates. You can do things like remove people that are a part of the mail merge, but we're just going to do it this way to start off with. So what we're going to do is click OK. So now what we've got is we've got all our details on the right hand side. We've got our data here. You can see it's automatically activated next record. Now the next thing we need to do is actually arrange our labels. So down the bottom here we have the option arrange your labels, and we're going to click here in the first label box. Now I find it easier to do it this way rather than go to more items, because each time I choose one of these options I've got to close this window back down. So I'm going to go to insert merge field. I'm going to choose title, put a space in, insert merge field, first name, space, insert merge field, last name. Now the address is usually going to be on the next line, so I just need to press enter. Now you'll notice between first and last and title there are little dots. That's a non-printing character to show me there's a space. This is another reason why it's really important to have this show hide switched on. Makes it so much easier to find things. Now we need to put in the address and then enter. Insert merge field, suburb, I'll put a space there, state, space, postcode. Okay, so now we've got our label laid out, and that's exactly how we want it. Now, just a tip, if this ends up looking too big on your label, take up too much space, before you do this, if you highlight the data, come back to the Home tab and change this down to maybe 10 to make it a bit smaller. So that's really helpful if you've got longer addresses where it's going to need a bit more space. I'll leave mine as it is, but just a note to help. If I click update all labels, you can see here what it's done now is it's replicated that on every single label. Now, it's worth doing the mail merge to this point, and then we go to preview your labels, and it's showing us the information. Now it's worth noting here that if there is an error in one of the spelling, etc., you really need to go back to your data source and correct it, because if you correct it here, it'll be corrected for the mailing label, but in the data source back here, it's still going to be wrong. So if perhaps, you know, there's a capital A for Kathy here. So this is what your label is going to look like. Now, if you happen to have, 100 or so label sheets you're going to be printing out, it's worth printing out the first sheet on a blank piece of paper and then holding it up to the light behind a set of labels, just to double check and make sure everything lines up okay. It's also worth considering not printing your 100 labels out all at once, because if you're on a shared printer, could be an issue. You may also need to check whether your labels need to go into your printer face up or face down. An easy way to check this out is to get a blank piece of paper and put a cross on it and put it into your printer, and whatever side the cross is facing, up or down, if the printing is over the top of the cross, that's the side that is going to be printed on. So you need to know your labels need to be face up if that's the case. So once we've done, we can complete the merge, and from there all you need to do is choose print or print your individual labels. Now you can save this label sheet. If this is a set of labels that you regularly use, it will save you having to go through the mail merge process again. So that's doing a mail merge using Excel data source to create labels in Word.